get anything of value, you have to sacrifice.
It's just too hard.
Do you know that the harder thing to do and the right thing to do are usually the same thing? Nothing that has meaning is easy. Easy doesn't enter into grown-up life. To get anything of value, you have to sacrifice.
If there was an easy path out, why are so many people still stuck? Why are so many people still trapped? If there's an easy way out of this mess, surely the fact that most people can't escape is testament to the fact that the only way out is hard. If it was easy to escape, no one would be fucking trapped in there. I can't give you easy answers. I don't have them. I only have the hard answers. And the hard answer is for you to knuckle down, stop fucking praying for an economic miracle, stop praying for a political miracle, stop praying for a miracle via digital currency, get your fucking act together and start working all day, every day, until you finally have enough for you to no longer have to be forced to live an experience you don't enjoy anymore.
So what do you do with the people who just are lazy and they don't want to help themselves?
Yeah.
And they're there.
They are not lazy. They're lost. Lazy is a symptom. The source of the laziness is they're lost. Let me put it another way. The person that presents as lazy, the young man, maybe your husband, ladies, I've gotten this call before, they're not lazy, they're lost. In other words, if you look at the science behind of why we procrastinate, a large portion of procrastination is depression. And I can't think of a more debilitating emotional state than feeling lost.
But once again, you just can't read about it. You can't sit back and be a theorist. You have to be a fucking practitioner. And in that practice, what you get at the other end is something that you're always found. You're never lost anymore. Doesn't mean the journey's easy. Doesn't get any easier, but you're always found. Once you figure out your brain, you become unstoppable to almost anything. Your brain's amazing. Once you feed it the right conversation, the right mental nutrients, the right mental supplements, the right internal dialogue at the right time, with the right hit, with the right proof of what you've done in the past, and you send that right to the right circuit, dude, you're a fucking beast. But once again,
high-level creativity. It is a function of two critical elements. First, a great deal of knowledge that is stored and organized in our long-term memory. And second, the willingness and ability to roam freely through all of that knowledge. This second quality is what we might call fluidity of mind. We notice this fluidity if we've had a few drinks, or we take some drugs, or we smoke some pot, or we're feeling extremely tired. Suddenly, it seems as if doors are opened up, and our minds can move about more freely, and they can come upon interesting ideas that had eluded us before. Well, highly creative people do not need this extra bit of stimulation. They have managed to retain or rediscover that fluid original mind of the child and wedded it to all of this knowledge and experience, giving them what I call the dimensional mind. A mind capable of seeing more dimensions of the visible and invisible world around us.
What if you were afraid of nothing? Nothing. Man, beast, financial, bankruptcy, nothing. Do you understand what that would mean? How would your life have changed? Once you become fearless, life becomes limitless. And of course, the people that I've talked about, Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Rockefeller, Steve Jobs, they're all tough. Snowflakes melt under pressure. In 1986, the average man's handshake pressure was 118 pounds. 2016, 96 pounds. Testosterone levels in sperm counts tested 50 years ago, and today they're producing 60 to 70% the amount of testosterone levels in sperm counts as they did. We're dying out.
Having faith and putting your money where your mouth is and putting your actions or your faith into motion and believing, you gotta believe in yourself first. If you don't let the water in the boat can never sink. No matter how rough the ocean get, the water gotta get in a boat for the boat to go down. I ain't take the praise to the head and I ain't get down on myself when they was talking crazy. And when it looked like shit was fucked up, I ain't quit. And when it looked like, we did it, I ain't celebrate. to the point of like stopping the work. It's just about, you know, I heard somebody say some real shit, you know, just because you scored a touchdown don't mean you won the game.
I see guys, I talk to people on the street, they don't even know what they can do best. I just ask them, what can you do best? And they're like, for me, like they don't even think what they can do best. Talking and motivational people who trying to develop you mentally, and they ask, that's the question they ask, what can you do best? Then the things that you can do best, you work at it. Because if you can do something flawless without have a problem to do it, push yourself to the limit, push yourself past the threshold of normalcy, and then you see the result, and then you will get the top level result of what you want to get done. And to becomes great, it is hard, but that doesn't mean it can't be done. Don't get it wrong. It can be done. So put in the work, put in all of your strategic plans, and get what you want to get done, and be successful at what you want to become. The things that you can do best, you work at it.
You do whatever you want. The world is yours. And that's some important shit, yo. Who would have thought a ghetto kid with gold teeth and French braids from the hood would be in Vogue and GQ? Who would have thought I would have did that? You know why? Because I didn't let the negativity hold me back. And that's what's holding y'all back, negativity. Don't give a when nobody say, do what feels right to you. You know who you are. Do you know who you are and be you.
The secret is to get and hold fast in your mind the mental image of the person you would most like to be. Then in every situation you act and talk as you feel that person would. You make the kind of decisions you think that person would. This is the way to constantly grow into a better, more effective person. You immediately begin to act with more confidence, and confidence is the first step to accomplishment. As your accomplishments begin to grow, which they most certainly will, real confidence slowly takes the place of the part you've been playing. Now, your life will not be transformed overnight. There'll be no sudden miracles, perhaps, but steadily, day by day, you'll grow into the image you hold in your mind. If you doubt this, try it for 30 days and watch what happens. You've got nothing to lose. The time is going to pass anyway. Why not put it to work, becoming the person you most want to become? It's the trick of the experts in every field.
If a person would sit down and let their body relax, totally relax, and then start to visualize in their mind, see themselves the way they want to see themselves. See how you'd like to live your life. See yourself living it that way. Okay. Now understand that that's a picture in your mind. Take that picture and describe it. Write it out in the present tense. I am so happy now that I see myself, and write it out. Start to read it and read it and read it and read it every day. Carry it around and keep reading it. The one point that all the great teachers all down through history have all agreed on, they've been in complete unanimous agreement on it, we become what we think about. Now it may be fantasy at first, it might even appear to us as being a lie. But if you read it often enough, you'll start to believe it.
Learn to become still and to take your attention away from what you don't want and all the emotional charge around it, and place the attention on what you wish to experience. Energy flows where attention goes. You can begin right now to feel healthy. You can begin to feel prosperous. You can begin to feel the love that's surrounding you, even if it's not there. And what will happen is the universe will correspond to the nature of your song. The universe will correspond to the nature of that inner feeling and manifest, because that's the way you feel.
You do get a picture in your imagination of who you prefer to be, what you prefer to be doing, where you prefer to be doing it, how you prefer to be doing it. When you see that, all you really have to do is mimic it, mirror it, act it out as best as you can on all levels of your life. All you have to do is be like that person in your mind's eye. Do things the way he or she would do it. And then when you start doing things the way he or she would do it, you will change your vibration to the vibration that is representative of that life. And when you shift your vibration to the representation of that life, you will start to synchronistically have that life. All the things that are representative of what that you would have will come in. So that's how to use your imagination as an actual tool.
You know, the only difference in steam and ice is the state of vibration of the water or the H2O. Do you know the only difference in where you are versus where you want to go is your state of vibration? Do you know that everything to get you there is already here? And it always has been. You know, when you take an idea and you impregnate it over and over again, you impregnate that idea into one cell. When you impregnate that idea into the cell, that cell is dividing 1 into 2, 2 into 4, 4 into 8, and the process goes on at the rate of 50,000 cells per second. And the more and more you act on it, even though you don't feel good about it, but you work with the idea, you start to develop this change in vibration, but what is really happening is you're impregnating the cells with the characteristic or the idea. What we need to do is we need to constantly think about where we're going, what we want to do, and we start to increase our level of thinking by vibration, and we begin to attract thoughts of a like nature that'll move us in that direction.
Well, we have never heard more beautiful phrases than those two that you offered to us from Bashar and Goddard. It's live in the excitement. That's what we're talking about here, isn't it? Or live in the wish fulfilled. But sometimes it takes a little doing. In other words, those are the answers. Those are the answers. So once you acknowledge that those are the answers, live in excitement, your teacher told you. Or in the wish fulfilled. So how do I do that? Well, I have to find that feeling place. What does excitement feel like? And as our friend earlier, she was describing how much fun she's having by picking an emotion and then acknowledging how easy it is to think about things that cause her to feel that way. So that is how this works, isn't it? Let that feeling be the objective or the goal. The wish fulfilled is because of the feeling that it gives to you. What does it feel like to fulfill a wish? It doesn't feel like the absence of the wish. What does the fulfillment of the wish feel like? It feels like accomplishment. It feels like satisfaction. It feels like being blessed. It feels like being good. It feels like being seen and heard. It feels like being known and understood. Anytime you haven't been understood, you know what being understood feels like because you've felt that too. It feels like being invincible. It feels like being able to be or do or have whatever I want. In other words, you just have to keep feeling around until you catch a little piece of that feeling and then do whatever you can remember that caused you to get there. Just keep doing that. Just keep doing that.
Clarify and define your vision for yourself in the highest possible way that you can see it. See yourself as high as you possibly can see yourself, right? Be as specific and see yourself as high as you possibly can, right? That's your first job, is to see it as high as you can see it. Be delusional even. Right at the apex of what your mind believes is possible, maybe push past that even a little bit and define it. And then number 2 is like believe it. You know what I mean? Like see it all the time and believe it, and whatever you gotta do to protect that belief. My version of protecting that belief was I wasn't sharing this. I wasn't even telling my mom. She knew I rapped. She knew I did music, and to her it was like,
somebody knock you off.
I'm not even gonna give my own mother the chance to try to bring me back down to reality. It's not gonna happen.
One of the things that I like to teach people when there's a problem, and we all have problems, not all of us can deal with the world and war, but we can deal with our own problems. When a problem comes up, one of the best things to say is, all is well, everything is working out for my highest good, and out of this situation, this so-called problem, only good will come, and I am safe. And you know, this is something that's very powerful. All is well, everything is working out for my highest good. Out of this experience, only good will come, and I am safe. And what that does, it quiets your mind down, or my mind down, long enough for the universe to find a solution for the so-called problem.
Whenever you wake up in the morning, today is going to be a great day. You have to nudge your brain, right? We have a conscious mind, we have an unconscious mind, we have a self-image, and your subconscious is paying attention to the words that the conscious mind is saying. And so if you're like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed, today's going to be a bad day, you're going to have a bad day because you just programmed your subconscious mind to do that. If you want to have a good day, it starts the night before, is what went well today. So when I go to bed, I say a prayer, and then I go, what went well? And I go on a treasure hunt because I'm purposefully looking for what are the right things that happened. And I look for the micro moments, you know, like what's the smallest thing? And for me, where I live, I see a lot of hummingbirds and butterflies, and I just focus on them.
Whatever it is that you want to have happen to you, what you do is you imagine in your mind that it already has happened to you. Not that it will happen, not that you're very confident and determined, but that it already has happened. Now, I'm not talking about living an illusion. I'm talking about an exercise that takes maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And during that 2 or 3 minutes, what you do is you imagine that you already have it. And what that is doing is that is imprinting into your subconscious that vibration of energy. And when that vibration of energy is in your subconscious, it attracts the people, the circumstances, the events, the synchronicity that makes it happen.
Says, well, how do I change it? The answer is change the subconscious mind, because that's where the habits are that we got from other people. Again, this is most important. The fundamental habits of subconscious mind came from other people, and that's why they rarely match what you want in your conscious mind, which is you. And you create those programs, and yet the fundamental programs of subconscious were downloaded during that first 6 years of our development. And of your life is coming from the conscious mind. So if you're only entertaining a positive thought with your conscious mind, you're only contributing 5% of that to your life. 95% of your life is still coming from the subconscious. And if the subconscious doesn't hold those beliefs, then you're actually fighting yourself. The subconscious is a habitual mind. It's a habit. Yeah. Until you change the habit, you will replay the habit. That's why it's called a habit. So you keep replaying the same program. It's like the definition of insanity is the idea of keep doing the same thing and expect something different to happen. The fact is, no, that's insane. Why? You keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same thing. And if the habit mind is giving us a story, then the answer says, well, how do I change it? The answer is change the subconscious mind.
So first, you have to believe it can be done. Then your mind set in motion for you to find ways to get it done. But if you don't believe it can be done, it can be done and you can't get it to be done because you didn't believe it can be done. So you have to believe first. That's the first step. Believe it can be done. When you believe it can be done, your mind set into motion to get it done. And you believe, your mind can find ways to help you to get it done. But you have to believe first. Without you believe first, your mind won't find ways to help you to do it. So when you believe, your mind finds ways to help you to do it. So believe it can be done, and then it will be done. When you believe something can be done, your mind finds ways to help you do it. When you believe that something is impossible, your mind finds ways to work it out and show you why it's impossible.
The hardest part about change is not making the same choice as you did the day before. Now, once people understand that they're going to be uncomfortable, then the question is, what thoughts do you want to fire and wire in your brain? What behaviors will you demonstrate in one day? And the act of closing your eyes and rehearsing who you're going to be when you open your eyes begins to install neurological hardware in your brain to look like you've already done it. Now the brain, which is typically a record of the past, now becomes a map to the future. And if you keep doing it, the hardware begins to become a software program and you start behaving differently. And then if you can teach your body emotionally what the future will feel like, that means then you're not going to wait for your wealth to feel abundant or your success to feel empowered or your new relationship to feel love. In fact, the moment you start feeling abundant, you're generating wealth. The moment you start embracing empowerment, you're stepping towards your success. The moment you're in love with yourself and you're in love with life, you start creating equals in your life. Now that's causing an effect in your life. So many people, they already know how to do this, but they usually wait for the worst thing to happen in their life before they get the wake-up call.
I've never found anybody that didn't want to help me if I asked them for help. I called up Bill Hewlett when I was 12 years old, and he lived in Palo Alto. His number was still in the phone book. And he answered the phone himself. He said, yes? He said, hi, I'm Steve Jobs. I'm 12 years old. I'm a student in high school, and I want to build a frequency counter. And I was wondering if you had any spare parts I could have. And he laughed, and he gave me the spare parts to build this frequency counter, and he gave me a job that summer in Hewlett-Packard, working on the assembly line, putting nuts and bolts together on frequency counters. He got me a job in the place that built them. And I've never found anyone who said no or hung up the phone when I called. I just asked. Most people never pick up the phone and call. Most people never ask. And that's what separates sometimes the people that do things from the people that just dream about them. You gotta act, and you've got to be willing to fail.
If you're complaining more than you're talking about your vision, then you're in inertia. Energy goes into those lower frequencies. Doubt, worry, fear, and now you're in that dynamic. But if you start talking about possibility, even if you don't know how to get there, then your energy starts to go up. You know, what if you ask a what if question? What if all my needs were met? What would I be doing in my life? What if everything is really working together for my good? What if all the bad things that have happened in my life are leading me to activating some great potential in my experience? What if God really is on my side? You ask a what if question, and you start to notice little tiny miracles happening in your life. Things start to manifest. You don't know how they got there.
Bro, you know how hard I work? You know how many years, bro, it took me to build this right here? With my hands, like bare hands, nobody. There's one thing about me, is like, I'm the person that's like, I ain't never complain about nothing. Don't nothing ever get to me. They want to get to me. I don't get to me. You know what I mean? Because can't nothing stop me, bro. Only thing that stop me is me. You feel me? So it's like, ain't nobody else got control of me. There can't nobody else, I'm finna shut this down. I'm finna do this, I'm finna do that. No, you can't do that, because I ain't connected to nothing. You're really doing what everybody want to do and wish they could do.
Stop scaring yourself. How often do you terrorize yourself with your own thoughts? You get into absolute terror, and it's only coming from your thoughts. Nobody out there is doing a thing. Sometimes it's an old family pattern. Sometimes we get new things. You know, we find so many ways to scare ourselves. I would like people, when you have time, to make a list of your fears. Make a list of your fears, and then give yourself the opportunity to turn each fear into a positive affirmation. Turn each one into something positive. And remember, always you are in charge. You are always in charge.
If you don't believe in God, then it's pretty messed up, because now you only got you to believe in. But if you got you and God, you can believe in both of those. The reason that it's special is because only you're gonna know that it's working. I talk to God 5 and 6 times a day. He has an accurate account of how I'm feeling about everything, how I think things are going, what I feel like I'm doing good at, what I feel like I need help with. These are our conversations, so I don't wonder why stuff gets moved out of my way, because I asked for things to be moved out of my way. Like you asked earlier, like, aren't you scared? Like, I'm not allowed to be scared because I'm not counting on me. You can't fuck me up because you're not allowed to fuck me up. And I've been in enough situations to know that he ain't let me down yet. Like, every time I needed his safety, it was there.
Yeah.
And will be. And the more times you communicate, the better the relationship is.
Every morning you open your eyes. First thing, Lord, I love you. Put him always first. Lord, I love you. Whatever happens today, you're in charge. Love the Lord, my beloveds. Amen.